Hey, it's Dervin here, and I got a question from Parabot 2 about how did I do the sort of the mud effect, or as I got sort of more the dusty effect on my Crusader knights that I did. The lighting's not very good here, but you can see it here, and you guys have seen it in the showcase of these guys. Um, but basically, it's just using the hair dyeing pigments that I've showed before. And I showed this in my weather and weathering video, and I pointed him to that, but I thought I'd just talk a little bit more about how I applied it and sealing it. So this is one of my hospitators that I really need to finish. These guys, actually, they've been sitting there for a long time, almost finished. So what I did was I started with the lighter brown out of the two, and I just sort of got a bit on, and then sort of picked the line about, sort of 3/4 of the way up, and then started sort of there and brushing it down and just sort of working it into the creases. Alright, and I did that all the way around, and I'll just do it on the first part here. Doesn't matter if it's up on him. You just sort of dust it around, and it's easy. If it's in the spot where you want, or if it's too thick somewhere, you just dust it with your brush off. And then I went to the darker brown, and then just sort of went from about halfway down, and just sort of fill it in, just to give it a bit of a colour transition, to go from a bit of a lighter to a darker colour. And really, that's the basic of applying it. And you can see, if we're going from that to that, which really adds a good, good bit of detail. Probably a bit too much in there. Now, the next trick about this, and I can't really show it because I don't really have a setup to be able to show you when I airbrush, but I use an airbrush, and I use it mainly for priming and for the varnishing. I found in the end it's more cost effective, but I get a matte varnish and I basically spray on a coat. Now I start a fair way away, further away than I normally would, and slowly work my way in closer. And what I find is if you start in close, the air is actually going to blow the pigment off the mini. Okay, so you start from away and you get a little bit of a mist on there, and then you work your way in closer. And what that does is that just helps seal it in. Now what I did find with the other guys is that I had to do it twice. Now that's just probably getting used to how far away you start before you mist in, but don't be afraid if you've got to do it 2 or 3 times to get the effect that you want. Especially if you're using an airbrush, your matte varnish coats are really thin, so I haven't had a problem with that. You could use a rattle can. I'm pretty sure the principle would be the same. Again, just be careful of the distance that you start at. So I hope that helps, and I'll talk to you guys next time.